And just for those of you who really like that, I'll give you a second one. G'day, hi, and welcome. There you go. +2 right now, really mild. Very nice out there. I went skating yesterday, went to a restaurant yesterday, did a whole bunch of things yesterday. And way late in the evening, I was able to actually watch the Trump inauguration speech. That's all I watched. I didn't watch the whole festivities for the uncles out there. that kind of murky shadow you see there, that's 3 men standing there by a car with my dad's dog. It's a little bit foggy out there, and the windows. Anyway, so yesterday was the SJW apocalypse. No! Or also known as the presidential inauguration. Now, yeah, your Antifas were out there and stuff like that. Now, I think I'm going to start off with the warning stuff first, so to speak. Check out my hat. All right, so first off, gold, silver, if you're into that kind of thing, double down, triple down, get what you can while you can. Bread, bullets, get what you can while you can. I always give rice a plug. Buy as much, because for $8-10 you can get like an 18-pound bag of rice. Stockpile. We're headed for rough times. Now, Donald Trump still, technically I guess today would be the first day in office. And he's got lots of stuff planned, and I think he's going to move quite quick on the stuff he's going to do. However, if you listen to this speech, it was a very dark speech in a lot of ways. It kind of bringing, and of course the mainstream media, they're still out there scratching their heads. I think I'm coming to the conclusion that a lot of them really have no clue why Donald Trump won. They have no clue. They can't figure it out. They're completely baffled. And you got media pundit after media pundit that they just don't get it because they're out of touch with the populace. That's why. The people who voted for Trump, didn't vote because of sexism and racism and xenophobe, homophobe, all this. They didn't vote because maybe some of them did. I don't know, but that's not what the core of it was. It was anti-establishment, draining of the swamp, restoring rule of law. But people know what the world elites were doing. They don't want the status quo in the government anymore. But mostly they voted for Trump so they wouldn't have a shooting civil war. This is very clear. And the proof is in the pudding. And I've listened to enough people on all sides of the argument. On one side of the argument, you got, you're racist, you're a bigot, and you just regurgitate this progressive. Again, if you didn't see the girl with the green hair going, no, you hear in the background, and the 45th president just being sworn in, swears on the Bible or whatever. And she's like, no. It's like, that's how mentally broken these people are. It's sad. I feel bad for them, but kind of like in a, you're stupid, it should hurt. But yeah, Trump hasn't played his hand yet, but he's still signaling that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. Trump does flip-flop because he's a negotiator to a degree. But his general theme, and I think there's going to be a lot of wins, but there's going to be a lot of hits too, no matter which way we go. And I will say this, brace for the pain. The pain is coming now. The people that voted for him, I don't even think fully realize what they voted for either. That you voted for the change. This change is going to come. The question is not just how much it's going to hurt, but how bloody is it going to be. The factions now being overthrown, if they get overthrown, we're going to know well within the 30 days whether Trump was the real deal or not. It won't even matter if he can pass what he wants to. Let's say the Congress and the House, the Senate, do not work with him at all. You'll know what he's trying to do, that type of thing. But God help those senators that don't play ball with the people. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind, when Obama was inaugurated, he referred to himself, I think I saw a little statistic, so you can check it out for yourself, but it's probably true. He referred to, not his inauguration speech, but the exit speech. He referred to himself 75 times. In Trump's inauguration speech, he referred to himself 3 times, and we the people 45 times. It was about a 17-minute speech, whatever, at least the first speech. I don't know how many speeches he's supposed to do in a day. But the main speech, after the swearing in. And he pretty much paints the picture of the country, the shape it's in. And that, we're going up from here, not the other way around. But there's going to be pain. We're going to have to pay the piper. And what he's talking about, and it's something he's been talking about, and if you've been paying attention to him, this is the problem with the SJWs, is they just took the talking points from the mainstream media, ran with their bias of Hillary Clinton and whatever, and didn't look at anything other. I listened to hours and hours of Hillary Clinton, hours and hours of Trump. I've been listening to Obama, pretty much every Obama speech since he's been in power for 8 years. Maybe not every speech, but quite a few of them. And not just the sound bites. Listening to, half hour here, an hour there. Again, a lot of people don't realize I probably put, anywhere from 6 to 9 hours a day doing this. I do a lot, and I know what these people are, how they think, how they, I know what they say, I know what they say and what they do. I always say just judge them on what they do. That's about all you can really do. Because they say a lot of different things. Even Trump's going to do this. But the thing with Trump is, I think he's probably going to be more successful, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, on what he wants to do because of the nature of Trump being the bull in the china shop. But the big problem is the underestimation, even for the people that voted for him. Now, let's break it down. Okay, he's had more Democrats vote for him than any GOP candidate in their history. He's had more Latinos and African Americans vote for the GOP than they've ever had in history. This was probably one of the largest elections in history. It was just, maybe not, I don't know if it was the largest, but it was definitely up there. Just a bizarre election to begin with. But the thing is that he keeps breaking records. And people still keep underestimating him. The mainstream media is still underestimating him. Oh, he's not going to be able to do this. Oh, he's not going to be able to do that. And one of the things that he said in his speech is, don't let people tell you what you can't do. Never let people tell you what you can't do. It was he ended it on a very high note and very motivational. But he also, God and country. This can be a concern. Again, I like to look at things as objectively as possible. This can be a concern if he goes too neoconish. God and country tends to follow with neocon on a lot of these politicians. We're going to go destroy that country for God. We're going to go fight because God's on our side, that type of thing. So, okay, take that one wherever you want to take that one. The atheists won't like that very much. The SJWs hate God too. So, of course, they're terrified right now. The SJWs are just they're literally in a mental apocalypse right now. There's some of them like, I just wonder how many are going to committed suicide yesterday over Trump's inauguration. Like, they're in complete disbelief. But that's what happens when you allow progressive agendas in schools and give participation awards. It causes brain damage. That type of thing. So we see that, but he's also talking about how we're not going to be bullying other nations anymore, but we're going to make people, NATO paying its fair share. There wasn't too much policy talk in there, but he's hinting at the stuff he wants to do. And that type of thing. And he's also talking about, more protectionism, that we're not going to take down other countries, but we're going to take care of our own first, and stuff like that. So he's really turning everything inward, and that's the way, trust me, you want it. Rather than sending all their jobs, again, I can't believe the people, the pundits on the media now. When NAFTA came in, they were screaming bloody murder. And now it's like, oh my God, he wants to get rid of NAFTA, but no. The reason why people want to get rid of NAFTA is because they're tired of seeing their jobs going over there. And he refers to the ruling classes. Look, all these politicians came to Washington. They set up their interests, but not for the people. They failed the people. Now, this man has talked a big talk, so he's going to have, if he can get 1% of what he wants to do, draining the swamp, it's a great start for the first 4 years. If he can get any of that done, that'd be great. But that's where he needs to start. I think the first person he needs to start with is either Henry Kissinger or George Soros, or both. Go for those guys first, Zygmunt Brzezinski, and then start going after your Rothschilds, your Rockefellers. Purge the system. Put these people in jail where they belong. Then you can go after your Clintons, Obamas, and Blairs and stuff like that. Well, I don't think you can really go after Blair, but anybody in the country that's a criminal, go after them. Because the people are out of, like, these politicians, even here in Canada, like, they're so out of touch with the people. Justin Trudeau on his apology tour right now. It's about to get rough for him because he's going to go out west. Now, mind you, he's not going to talk to any of the oil workers out west. Surprise, surprise. Well, he might. He might, but I think they do screen quite a few people that come in and see the Prime Minister. Yes, there's still that bit of a honeymoon phase for Justin Trudeau because the media is on his side. But people are starting to see through it. They're starting to see the scandals and stuff like that. Now, up here in Canada, we're going to have to really brace for impact. A lot of people are going to understand if Donald Trump does what he says he was going to do, that he's actually the good guy. But he's making us pay the piper. And if you understand the implications of that, you understand what happened in Greece, Spain, and Italy to a great degree. yes, it's going to be probably that bad. The globe is going to get hit. If Donald Trump drains the swamp, he drains the global swamp. It's the mountain climber effect. One falls, we all fall. And if, I don't know, I think I just passed 7,800 videos the other day. I think this is 7,801 or 7,802. This might be one of my most important videos to take away from, because what I'm warning you of. If I'm wrong, okay, the worst case scenario, you'll have extra food in your house, extra cash on hand, whatever. If I'm right, you'll wish you've doubled down to the power of 10 of what I'm telling you to do. Don't keep any more money in the bank than you're willing to lose. Yes, you can be robbed at your house. You can be your house can burn down, whatever. You can lose everything. But if Donald Trump is signaling the way he's signaling, and the past week, I mean, this man has talked about the true employment numbers, the 62% employment rate in the United States, not the 4.7 or 4.8% or whatever Obama was lying. Now, in the mainstream media, even up here in Canada, the CBC's like, Obama had no scandals, and he's got his legacy, and he was like the perfect president. This man murdered how many people with drones? 4,000 people, most of them women and children with drones. Started more wars than anybody else. Sold more weapons to, to the Middle East than and more weapons since World War II to anybody. Created ISIS. Calls them moderate rebels. Again, it's not all Obama. Obama was the puppet. Trump was after the establishment that was controlling Obama. This is what people clearly don't know. The people that voted for him, a high majority, understand why they voted for him. And that's why, is that they knew, hey, wait a minute, it's not really, he was never in control. He was just a puppet. Like Justin Trudeau's the puppet up here. And this is the theme around the world. Trump might be a different candidate. Number one, he never took AIPAC money, which is good. But yet, he's very pro-Israel, so that's a concern. He's talking about signing 200 executive orders to ASAP. Come on, Missy. And in comes my cat. I have no idea what all these orders are. These orders to overthrow the executive orders? I mean, Obama has signed more executive orders than any president in history. And most of them are progressive agenda stuff and the NDA, the NDRP stuff, that, all the basically anti-liberty stuff. Trump is going to start off with 200. So, is he going to be an executive president? I don't know. But I think he has to be anyway, because if the Congress doesn't work for them, he needs to really make it clear to the people, these are the people that are disagreeing with me. These are the people that are holding me up. Now, maybe, just maybe, Obama was a pure-hearted guy going in. And I was sitting in a restaurant yesterday. I haven't done that in a while. I just went out to a local restaurant. Had a pizza, it was good. And two guys were sitting there, and one guy asked the waitress, says, you watching the Trump thing? And she's like, no, he's going to do whatever he's going to do. And you can tell she just, didn't want to talk about it. So I don't know, I've known the lady for a long time, but I don't know where she stands on it. And I just think there's a lot of people, they just don't want to talk about it. They don't want to deal with it anymore. I see it on my Facebook too. It's like, some of my relatives are like, I'm not even mentioning Trump today. I'm just going to listen to Frank Zappa, that type of thing. He knows who he is. And so, because they're drained from it, it's like, will it ever end, But it's like, this is just the beginning. This is what a true revolution looks like. You have a polarized society. This is what it truly looks like. And the thing is that he's like, oh, well, that Obama guy, he had a good heart. And I'm like, that's what happens when you just listen to the sound bites on the mainstream media. And even people really close to me are like, oh, that stupid Trump or whatever, because they don't know. Like, they're not engaged in it. But trust me, anybody that voted for Trump is engaged with it, which is a very good thing. And here's why, because anybody that voted for Trump was paying attention. They were paying attention to their country. They were paying attention to what the world elites were doing to us, what the central bankers, Rothschild, Rockefeller, oils, Rothschild central bankers were doing around the world. They understand the wars. More military donated to Trump than I think even Ron Paul. And Ron Paul's a pretty high benchmark when it comes to military support. So the military people, I think they know more than anybody who really runs the show and what's really going on in the Middle East. And they know it's not for the women and children and democracy and stuff like that. They understand it's for the petrodollar. Most people don't understand what the petrodollar is and that type of thing. This is what's going to catch them off guard. And as blindsided as they were by Trump winning, how blindsided are they going to be by an economic collapse? Trump is very much signaling that they're getting ready to go and to write off debt. He's even said this. There's going to be, there's going to be a debt. They're going to write off debt. They're going to devalue. He's already said they're going to devalue the currency. The best way to do that is write off debt. But when you write off debt, the bankers aren't going to get paid. The banks are already insolvent. They've been insolvent for a long, long time, which led up to the 2008 collapse. The 2008 collapse was the speed bump in the road, like I've been saying for years. That wasn't the big one. And I'm not an economist, but most economists are saying that we're looking at the economy for what it was, not for what the Hope and Change was saying it was. They're like, no, that's the small one. The big one was supposed to hit us in 2012. It didn't. Now, Canada is just going into its 2008 collapse, so to speak. We're about to have catastrophic failure here in Canada if Trump starts doing what he's doing, because we're just not going to be able to keep up. And with the people that are in power now, they have no idea what Trump's really up. And a lot of them, it's because they're compartmentalized. And again, they're in the system. Anybody that works in the CBC probably doesn't listen to alternative media. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So they never hear a different perspective. So this is why you have all these people out there completely underestimating Trump. New York Times. Hillary Clinton has a 98% chance of winning. Yeah. That should tell you everything. That should tell you everything. And all these people that got it wrong. They underestimated Trump. Oh, Trump's an idiot. He's this. Is he? Is he really? Why don't you think about that? Here's a guy who got $40 million inheritance. Turns it into $400 million or $3.5 billion, whatever his net worth is. I mean, it's still, like, they're discovering that it's much bigger than what he says it is because he's under federal audit. You can't really talk about it right now. But people, the people that can say stuff like, oh, his empire is like massive. This guy's like beyond successful, like that type of thing. And he's like, yeah, it's a successful business. But the thing is, if this guy's such an idiot, how does he take $40 million and turn it into an empire? He didn't just squander it away. The other thing is he beat the mainstream media on all sides, on the left, on the right, that were against him. He beat both major political parties in the United States, the GOP, and yes, you got to look at it as he took down the GOP. He destroyed the GOP from within, and the Democrats. Plus globalization, the amount of people working against him, and he's standing there as the new emperor. He fooled them all. This is not a dumb man. This is a much more clever man. The way he speaks, the way he talks, and his mannerisms and stuff like that, yeah, he comes off as a guy that just shoots from the hip. This man is way more calculated than you're giving him credit for. He knows exactly where to hit, but he knows where to hit because he knows who to surround himself, because he surrounds himself by, whether you like them or not, people that are smarter than him. That's why he's successful. And this campaign was successful. And there's a lot of people behind the shadows as well. It's just a question of, will they be able to control him or not? I don't think they will. And I'm hopeful that he does what he says he's going to do. But I understand the implications of that. Now, what you should take out of this is that the future generations, like my nephew, his kids' kids, their kids, whenever, my nephew's only 3 now, but they won't have to pay the piper. The recovery might hit in their time. It's not going to hit in our time. We're taking the hit now, and we should, rightfully so. So should the baby boomers, the Gen Xers like ourselves. Yes, the millennials, they're going to be screwed, no matter which way we go. Wealth will leave the people massively, but out of the ashes will rise a new phoenix of prosperity. The thing is how many are going to be able to see this for what it is? It is a readjustment of the economy. If you adjust the American economy, you adjust the world economy. Now, maybe this was the play all along to get the one world Rothschild currency, and if that comes in, then we know for sure. Davos right now, all they're talking about is that one world currency and a cashless society and driverless cars and transhumanism and robot economy, same as last year. But they're also talking, how do we counter Trump? So if we see everything in Davos start appearing in the world like it normally does, then we know the world elites are still in control. If we see catastrophic failure, actually, we're now entering new territory. So like I've said before in my 2017 prediction, it's going to be the year of the bizarre. We're going to see things that we're not even out of January yet. How bizarre has it been? We're living in interesting times, to say the least. But we're also living in terrifying, scary times for those who actually understand what's really, truly going on. If he drains the swamp, There's going to be a lot of people kicked off in the next 30 days. These Antifa that are running around the streets right now, and you see them, these guys, they're paid protesters, Black Bloc protesters, Antifa, SJWs, whatever. Even the SJWs, the thing about the SJWs is they're just brainwashed and stupid. Like, they're really, the SJWs are the ones sitting there going, no, we're just people protesting, no. And they're communistic, Bolshevik Revolution 2.0, whatever you want to refer to it as. These people, that's the way they think. But the Antifa, they live on, these are the anarcho-communists, anarcho-capitalists, Black Bloc protesters, Antifa, all same kind of people. These people, they don't care what the cause is. They're chaos dressed in black. You can see them running around with their Antifa black flags with the anarchy sign on it and busting things up. And I don't know how many protesters, but this is a good thing. Because the more chaos they do, and the more we can link this back to George Soros, which there's almost no doubt. I mean, you've got all these groups, all these the women's groups that are out there, whatever. Don't worry about them. Like I said, there will be a civil war in the United States. There will be an economic collapse in the United States under Trump. Third World War it's not out of the question. It's on the table, but it's less likely. However, my big concerns are their stance on China. If they call the bluff in China, we go to war. I'm not so much worried about Russia under Trump. However, there could be unforeseen consequences, and Trump is in power now. The game is on. Well, my dad and Lacey are on their way back, so I'll just end it up on this. It is now game on. It means that we're now entering a phase where extreme violence could break out. I'm not even just talking about the protesters. I'm talking about world violence. I'm talking about if the new guy, which I've listen. What I do is I listen to the politicians and the generals and stuff like that. I don't just listen to CNN. In fact, you shouldn't listen to CNN on anything. I think it was either NBC or CNN. One of those two were talking about, like for an hour long, if Trump was to get assassinated. They don't do that for any president. So it just gives you an idea. The sign of the times here is very, very, prepare wisely. Again, have yourself a plan. Liberals are buying guns in droves because they're feared of their liberties, which I'm okay with them buying guns. But now's the time to extend your hand to them and say, this is what we've been talking about all along. Yes, we may ideologically disagree, but you understand that in order to keep a government in check, you need to understand your Constitution and your amendments. That said, I don't think you have to worry about Trump too much. But if they call the bluff in China, what that means is they're going to block the disputed waterways with American ships. If they do that, this takes it beyond the Cuban Missile Crisis. This takes it on that if the Chinese start shooting, they don't stop. So that's the problem with Trump is the two ones are Iran and China. So that's where we're really going to have to watch them. And this will be probably coming on, again, what Cliff High calls the Israeli freakout, which is going on right now. Israel is going to have a big part on whether we go to war. Well, they always do. And that has to do with the Greater Israel Project. So that's why I keep bringing it up. So now that those things are the big ones to worry about, everything else, again, the economy, I mean, Trump is ready to declare insolvency of the banks and audit the Fed. Will he do it? Again, we can only judge him by his actions. But you have to understand, audit the Fed, what that means. That means there's going to be a lot of bankers getting knocked off. Why dead men tell no tales. But that also means there's going to be so much financial calamity. We're not going to know what hit us. But if you understand why it's happening, I mean, they could still manipulate the system. Trump can manipulate this because it's already in the manipulation. Like, we should have collapsed a long time ago with the housing bubbles and all that stuff. But the thing is maybe what Trump might do is get the economy going first and then attack the bankers, that type of thing. But it's kind of one of those things where time's of the essence. Hit them now while they're down, but you take everybody with you. And that's what you have to worry about Trump. Trump is still doing the right thing, but a lot of people don't understand because we have an age of entitlement where people don't understand that you can't sell the future to live a better now, which we've been doing. Retirements can't be paid. You're seeing retirements being cut all throughout, certain states like Arizona and stuff like that, where they can't pay their cops and stuff like that because they're broke. California, that type of thing. That's going to go rampant throughout the United States, but it will be an insolvency. But that said, you're going to have a restructure of debt. And when you have that restructure of debt, that's where you're going to see the real chaos. And the people, even the ones that voted for him are probably not understanding that's what you voted for. Like that's what you voted for. And that's going to have pain. That's going to have consequences. Again, it's game on. So I guess I'll leave it at that. We'll see what day 2 brings. I mean, this man hasn't really been taking any time off. If you haven't seen the meetings, this guy's been presidential now since the election. He's just been in meeting after meeting after meeting after meeting. No, he didn't go play golf. I mean, this guy's going to go play golf in 9 years. You know what I mean? This is going to be a very active president. He is 70 years old. So you got to watch out things don't catch up to him. If he keeps doing the right thing, yes, they probably remember John F. Kennedy would be 100 years old this year, and we have the Bolshevik Revolution 100-year anniversary, Balfour Declaration 50-year anniversary, and a whole batch of Zionist stuff that's going to be basically in 500-year anniversaries. So the thing about it is that you have to understand these world elites, that they do operate on numerology and satanic stuff, and it's not what we believe. Maybe you don't believe in that stuff, but you have to understand the people up there, they are, that's the transhumanism and all that. These people, when you follow them enough, you realize that, there's a lot, some do it for the greed, the money, and the power. Others do it for just really unbelievably sick. When the Rothschild family, for example, they got $700 trillion worth of wealth. They could give that wealth. They could give every person on the planet $1 million if they wanted to. They could use that wealth for good, but they don't. They use it to. These people want a complete totalitarian system. The United Nations, which is a Rockefeller invention coming out of the League of Nations. Maurice Strauss, he's dead now, but good riddance. But these people, again, they never use their power for good. So hopefully Trump will. And again, Trump himself, okay, I think what you see is what you get. Again, with some people you can just tell. Now, will he be able to deliver? It really depends on his opposition from within, not from outside. The Democrats, they're still, again, you see all these hit pieces. I think that stuff's going to go away in the dodo slow as people realize what Trump really is and what he's really standing for, and look past the the racist, the bigot, xenophobe, and stuff like that. When they look past that, they'll understand why the people voted for him, especially those who didn't vote for him. But a lot of people, because again, if you don't follow what's going on in the world, like a lot of people think, they don't realize ISIS was backed by the U.S. government, and still is. But that might change. And that might change quite quickly. And stuff like that. Because they only listen to CNN, they only listen to CBC up here in Canada, and stuff like that. But when you realize that whether you're in Great Britain listening to the BBC, here in Canada listening to the CBC, or in Australia listening to the ABC, or in the United States listening to Fox or CNBC or NBC or the 6 media moguls, big giant medias there, all owned by the same guy. It's all one looping. No matter where, they all have the same narrative. None of them are objective, and nobody finds this odd. Well, of course, they're all on the same page and regurgitating the same thing. They all get the same script because the guys at the top, that is the system. The media system is the education system. The education system is the military system. The military system is the banking system. The banking system is the global system. And if you look at it all as one system, you have to understand very clearly this is what Trump is fighting against. And hopefully some other hellhounds with him. Now, that said, I think we're going to start to see the stage 2 hellhounds. Now, what I call hellhounds is, you can call them spooks of the conscience, patriots, constitutionalists, whatever. Mostly active duty law enforcement and military. I really believe mostly active duty law enforcement, because these are the guys who knows who brought in what laws and whatever. These guys are going to go around. They're going to start knocking people off. I think this 5 yes spy stuff is going to ramp up. It's been ramping up a lot in the past month. A lot of Russian diplomats, I think there's 3 or 4 of them have been killed. There's been other people that from the Clinton Foundation disappeared. Some suicided just the day before they were to testify. I believe that the Clintons are going to, there's a firestorm coming at them. I don't think that's on day one, but Clinton has to go to jail. That's more about optics than anything. But the thing about Clinton going to jail is they're going to kill her. This lady knows she's a dead woman. And their own people are going to kill her. Why? Because this woman, she's going to sing like a canary. That'll take down the system beyond belief. So it's catch-22 for her. So whether she keeps drinking herself to death or I mean, if you haven't seen this woman lately, yeah, they were out there yesterday, but they don't look happy. They don't look happy. And there's new lawsuits just waiting to come out. And I think that all comes out. But if it doesn't, then we know Trump was never the real deal. We can only judge him on his actions. But his signaling is still signaling that, we're going to pay the piper. So that thing of, I think what he's done is, because what a lot of people are saying, and I agree with, is that the bankers were basically building up, manipulating the stock market, brought the Dow to just about 20,000 to say so when Obama left office. Oh, it was such a great economy. There's 4.8% or 4.7% unemployment rate. It's the highest employment they've ever had, which is simply not true, because if you understand how they calculate the employment, if you have a part-time job, they count it as a full-time job. If you're part-time working, you have 2 part-time jobs, they count that as 2 people working full-time. If you're no longer eligible for unemployment benefits, they don't count you at all. So obviously that number is going to go to 0 at some point, because the benefits are running out, okay, or have ran out. And these benefits, all these welfare benefits, that stuff's going to fail. Food stamps, all that stuff's going to fail. So Trump knows that he's inheriting an insolvent economy, meaning it's bankrupt. And he's already alluded to this several times. So he's not going to come out there and just do the blame game right away. What he's going to do is explain it to you. This is what has happened. This is what's going to need to happen. So you're going to get smacked in the face big time. But then he's going to start naming names. Again, you're going to just see truth bomb after. That's what keeps the man alive, is by just truth bombing everybody that opposes him. That's the best way he can do it. But again, when he starts doing that, I would love to see them write off the Rothschild banker debt and let the bank fail. Just let the World Bank just let it fail, because it's got people addicted to debt, and that debt basically, it can't be repaid. You have to understand, when George Bush ran, it took something like 200 some odd years to run up to the first $1 trillion, and George Bush took it from $1 trillion to $4 trillion in just about 8 years, around that. Obama's taken, and everybody gave him this big, that's the thing, nobody's cutting Trump any slack whatsoever. Even people who voted for him are not cutting him any slack. They're watching him like a hawk. And the thing is that Trump is starting off 5 times worse, or 4 times worse than what Obama is, where Obama got $4 trillion to start with, and everybody gave him at least a 2-year grace, saying, wow, he inherited such a bad economy, nobody's working with him, whatever, give him that. But he's had 8 years to help remedy that. But instead of getting the numbers to go down with all the extra wars, remember, the Americans have spent over $14 trillion on wars over the years. That's an unfathomable amount of money. But he's taken it to $20 trillion. So Trump has now got to deal with $20 trillion worth of debt. They don't bring in that much money on the taxation. So something's got to give. So his big military spending projects and stuff like that, I don't think are going to come out right away. His stimulus spending, this is where a lot of people go, all the stuff he wants to put in his military, whatever. Well, when he starts cutting funding to NATO, that's going to go back into the U.S. military. So he's going to throw out little nuggets like that. People think he's just going to do things sporadic. No, this man plans out every aspect of his life. That's very clear. This man, I don't think, he probably has people planning his life for him. This is a very organized, control freak of a man. Of course he's going to plan out everything. So it's just, when you hear him talk, you think he's just off the cuff and a wild man. But again, you're underestimating, the only thing that you have to understand is he's smart enough to know what he doesn't know. And that's why he hires people who do. The big question is, who's he surrounding himself with? That's where my worries are, because he is surrounding himself with a lot of the Goldman Sachs people. And there's other people that are, again, but who does he have to pick from, right? Deplorables and shadies. So the thing is if they don't do what he wants, I think he'll just fire them and find other people. I think you're going to see a lot of purging from the Trump administration if he doesn't get what he wants. Again, to him, this is his ultimate reality show. But what he really understands, and this is something that, again, even the SJWs don't even get it, that Trump is probably going to be better for them in the long run than anybody they could possibly imagine. It's just the SJWs are, they're completely scared of Trump because of the media. And I think one of the things that he's going to do, what he says he's going to do, is he's going to allow alternative media to compete with the mainstream media. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing for people like me. Not that I'm ever going to be going to the White House anytime soon, but hey, Mr. President, yeah, g'day, hi and welcome from Canada. Drop your beaver tail. It's a maple syrup. Yeah. Have you ever seen that movie Canadian Bacon? Maple syrup. It's called About we have ways of making you pronounce the O. Great movie, best movie ever. Canadian Bacon and Slapshot. You got to watch those two movies. No matter who you are, you have to see them once in your life, or you haven't lived. They're really funny. They're stupid funny, but they're funny. But anyway, I digress. So anyway, the case in point is Trump has a plan. It's just we don't know how he's going to play these cards down. And the way the media is saying, well, he's talking about doing this, and he's not going to do it all at once. Same with Obamacare. Yes, it's one of the first things he's going to get rid of. Now, this also will go against the GOP. Again, he's going to make them look bad and incompetent at all the time. It's like, okay, they've had the House and the Senate for the past two years. They could have gotten this done when they campaigned on getting that done, and they didn't do it. He's going to come in, he's going to do it. He's going to get the credit for it. Now, the thing is they're not just going to scrap it all. They're going to repeal and replace. So basically, most people are not even going to notice the difference in Obamacare. Problem is, Obamacare is a disaster, and a lot of my Canadian viewers don't understand that Obamacare is nothing like the single-payer system that we have up here in Canada. It's completely different. That's why, like, a lot of Canadians can't understand why don't Americans want free healthcare? Because it's not even free up here in Canada. The average Canadian would be paying about $6,000 to $9,000 a year for healthcare. But the thing is it doesn't come directly out of pocket like Obamacare does. And the thing is, too, is like the amount of people that don't qualify for Obamacare are really being put out. I mean, to get a bill of an extra anywhere from a couple $100 to almost $600, $700, $800 a month. That's like a car payment. Some people like $200 a month, whatever. But I couldn't afford an extra $200 a month. You know what I mean? Like that type of thing. So single payer is different than what Obamacare is completely, and that's what a lot of Canadians don't get. Obamacare has nothing. There's no similarities hardly at all. And that's why people, the amount of people it hurt. I mean, yes, okay, maybe it helps 75 or 7.5 million people, but it put another 75 million people out of work and fines. And I mean, yeah, if you didn't pay your medical insurance, you're basically fined. It's again, if Canadians understood fully what Obamacare, this is the problem with the system in general, and why the system is so bad is because most people don't understand the politics in general and how far down the road we've gone and how dark it really is. But that said, I think Trump can do like small business wins right away. The big corporation stuff, I don't know what strategy he's going to employ, but he has to get people back to work right away. So I think you're just going to see these little nuggets. Oh, well, now this, you got you got 1,000 jobs from the carrier. Even before he was even sworn in, he's already creating jobs. Okay, but 1,000 jobs at a time when you got 94 to 96 million people out of work. He's got a much bigger, so he can keep putting the good optics on it, but he's got to get out of the way of small business so that the small businesses can start hiring people again. That type of thing. So how he's going to go about the economy, we'll have to wait and see, but it's going to be painful no matter what. So I don't know. It's game on. So hopefully he's the real deal. That's the thing, because it'll be a step in the right direction for the next two generations, not for us, because we fucked the system. It's like all this free stuff that we wanted from government for years and years and years that can't be delivered. Living beyond our means and with cheap credit, it's those days are coming to an end. So that said, we'll have to wait and see what happens. But again, prepare wisely, because most people are not going to understand what the next economic hit, and that tidal wave is going to be monstrous, because it's not just the $20 trillion. There's so many numbers that are thrown out there that the real U.S. debt is probably more like $240 trillion to possibly $4 quadrillion. You can't even, I think a trillion is a one with 16 zeros behind it. A quadrillion is 10 times that, or 1,000 times that, or whatever it is. I don't know. It's unfathomable. That much money doesn't even exist on the entire planet, let alone, in one country. So that's going down one way or another, and there's going to be a lot of stuff taken with it. A lot of industry, a lot of pensions. Again, it's going to 2008 collapse, but everywhere. And here in Canada, our economy's not strong enough to take a second hit like that. So we're going to, pretty much implode from within. They'll try to blame everything on Trump as much as possible, and in some ways, yeah, they're going to be right, because he's going to be instituting the policies for the correction. And when that corrects, boy, that's going to be just such a bad day. Everybody's losing their pensions, if you have a pension. I mean, poor people like me don't have pensions, you know, that type of thing. But everybody loses their pension overnight. Maybe they can rebuild it again. And it's more of what you're looking at is what are they going to, what is he going to put in replace of all this bad stuff? That's more where you should be concerned. And hopefully, just hopefully, it's better and more honest. If you, I mean, I'll be watching this guy like a hawk. You know, like I'll be critical on Trump's policies. I think I already am, because like I don't like that. That's the problem that gets us into this. Is like, for example, Hillary Clinton can do no wrong with the SJWs. You know, I mean, this woman is a convicted criminal. You know what I mean? Like, by the FBI, she's a convicted criminal. She was just they never pressed charges, you know, or a sentence or whatever. I think that stuff is I think there's going to be a purge of the CIA big time. God knows how violent that's going to be, but it needs to happen anyway. The DHS, the NSA, these organizations need to be completely scrapped and start over. They're just way too corrupt. But to do that, you're going to have to fire how many people, right? So it's kind of like, that type of thing. And a lot of government organizations. The thing I don't know about Trump, and he hasn't talked about it, is his austerity plan. Because obviously this man understands balancing the books means you get what you pay for, you can't get more. You know, you can't, 2 + 2 don't make 5, so to balance the books, you're going to have to fire a lot of people. And again, with the United States gaining about $2 trillion a year in debt, yeah. So when he's talking about devaluing the currency, which will make it a little bit harder up here in Canada in some ways. For example, it'll be bad for our, we're going to have a strong dollar, so it'll be bad for our exports. But however, the consumers in Canada are going to, you know, it's like, you mean, if they devalue their currency 30%, you're going to see so many cars bought from the States, but it will wreak havoc here on our economy. So there'll be a lot of business, but it's going to be money flying all over the place. It's just going to be a desperation, but it might actually spurt people to buy in the economy, which creates jobs, because there's no velocity of money right now. That type of thing. But anyway, we'll have to wait and see what he does, because it's only day 2, but very exciting anyway. But that said, gold, silver, bullets, breads, buy rice. If you have better suggestions, what can you buy? And this is, I'll pull my audience and just put it down, because I never censor my comments, and always like people putting in their suggestions too, because, you know, I look at it as rising tide floats all boats, and we can help each other with this. But rice, like I say, I always give rice a plug because it's cheap. And, you know, you can buy, let's say you have $80, you can buy 10 bags of rice. That's like 160, that's a human body's worth of rice. You know, it's 18 pound bag of rice for less than $10. Buy it now while you can afford it. And remember, right now in Venezuela, 1 ounce of silver can buy you 5 to 6 months worth of food, because their currency has been so devalued. So again, I don't know what the first crisis they're going to throw at Trump, but he's going to have crisis. I think what they're going to try to do is keep this man dancing, crisis after crisis after crisis, so that he doesn't have time to implement anything he wants to do. That's why I think it's very important that he goes after Henry Kissinger and George Soros ASAP, particularly Soros. Kissinger is a little bit more of a long planner than Soros' immediate reaction. But obviously these two guys, I don't even know if they get along, but they do seem to be running in the same circles. So, yeah. But I think those guys, particularly like Soros, I think at the end of the day, like, I mean, you're seeing country after country starting to ban George Soros-funded groups. Now, the problem is most of these are feminist, leftist groups, that type of thing. And I think, you know, there's no use to fear that stuff at all, because, again, these people are such a minority. These are really radicals. And they're so easy. For example, there's a girl on my Facebook, and I only add people I know personally on my Facebook because I've got family and friends and stuff like that. I don't have a separate Facebook, but she kind of went through a weird kind of swing back and forth, and this happens to people too, is... she was a hardcore conservative for a long time, and then under the last campaign, she went liberal, and that type of thing, or NDP, I can't remember what it was. So she's now kind of what you would call a lefty. But last night, you know, all these Antifa running around, which is great, because the video footage just shows you, you know, how radical the left is. They're in Trotsky mode, you know, burn it all down. And the thing is she's like, no, that's not the way, guys. No, that's going to probably swing her back to the middle. And I don't care if you're slightly left-leaning or slightly right-leaning. You have to understand, we have a society that has about 10% batshit crazy on the left and right. A very dogmatic, tribalist kind of version of politics with those people. You know, give me my way or give me death. Well,
most people say, okay, well, we'll give you the second. But the case in point is that you're dealing with people that can't deal with reality. They can't be told no. They got participation awards all their life. They believe in this extreme form of undetermined equality that nobody can really explain, that everybody's going to win. They don't understand economics. They're just cry-bullies, they're whatever. But the ones like the Antifa type, these are very violent people. These people will kill people. The revolutionaries, and I think that's, they just change names throughout history, but it's the same type of mindset person and stuff like that. But those people, I think, the crackdown on them is basically ridicule. Just point and laugh at them. You guys are stupid and ridiculous. You're so melodramatic in your own head, you know what I mean? That type of thing. And I think people can see it for what it is. And that's the good thing, is the outrageous, I think the biggest thing that drove people to Trump was the outrageous reactions to Trump. And I'm not saying there's no legitimate concerns against Trump. Again, I'm still on the fence on him. That's why I'm not coming out, no, Trump is this and Trump is that. And I think a lot of people are the same way. We're watching. We're waiting to see what's going to happen. And the other thing, too, is with Trump, it's like we don't know if he's the good guy or not. It's only day one. It's only day one. It's as soon as he starts bringing in his policies, you'll have to examine them, each policy one at a time. And the reason why people are spending so much time, too, also trying to watch what Trump is doing is very simple. It's like we already know how bad the other system is. So we got to get this one right. And I don't know, the signaling is still Trump seems to be the good guy. But not what they say, it's what they do. Again, in 2008, if Obama would have kept to his speech in 2008, there's a good chance that we would have world peace right now. But Obama has made the world, put it pretty much on the edge of a nuclear war with Russia and China. So that's what happens when you have a puppet, right? So is Trump a puppet? Yes, no. I have some of my followers, they're like, nah, new boss, same as the old boss. Well, we'll have to wait and see. Because I really don't know. He is playing his hand very close. If Russian and American relations improve, that's great. But if Russian and American and Chinese relations start going sour, that could be bad. Because remember, Russia and China have a pact. If we go to war to Iran, well, then we know that, okay, there's no reason to go to war with Iran. No matter what the deal is, doing preemptive strikes on Iran and stuff like that will only get more people killed for the sake of getting people killed. That's the plan that was there all along. So the people behind the scenes, I think, the Trump administration, I'm pretty sure they know, and again, I'm not making any threats to anybody, but I think they know they have to kill half those people because they're so freaking radical. So you just watch for a lot of people dropping dead, politicians, analysts, even some military people. They're just going to end up, suicides, dead, heart failure, especially the older guys like Kissinger and stuff like that. If he's dead within the next, say, 2 months, they killed him. If Soros has an accident in the next 2 months, they killed him. Why? Because he's just too radical. And if they can't get them, the CIA always plays dirty. It's just, who are they playing for? That type of thing. So we'll have to wait and see. And you're already seeing some assassination attempts, and stuff like that on whistleblowers and stuff like that. So I don't think that stuff goes away. I think that stuff doubles down. Most people are not going to be aware of it because it's never going to be on mainstream media, that type of thing. And I can imagine the credibility when, you see this all the time, whenever, like say George Soros or whatever, they get rid of him, the media is going to come out saying how great of a philanthropist he was. The media, I think the mainstream media is again, there's still people that only watch the mainstream media, so they believe everything that they see on that. But I'll just say this: if you don't believe anything on the internet is real, why would you believe anything on the mainstream media? What gives them the credibility? Especially when they've been caught in the lies. Right now, the fake news meme, that was supposed to be the Alinsky tactic of ridicule to completely take out all, at first it was just call everybody conspiracy theorist. But then when the conspiracies keep getting shown as conspiracy fact, I'm not saying there's no bullshit or conspiracies out there, but when it keeps getting shown as fact, it makes them look bad. So they had to come out with fake news. But the only people putting fake news is the mainstream media. They keep lying, which keeps and again, every time the people, that's why I don't bother arguing with people that are anti-Trump and stuff like that, because they don't know. They're not following what I'm following. And the other part is that, it's like your question you can ask them: do you hate Trump because of his policies or because the mainstream media told you to hate him? You're only getting the sound bites. Again, I've listened to hours of this man, so I still don't know what to make of him yet. And I think that's an honest assessment. But if he's going to do what he says he's going to do, brace for impact, because it's going to be an extremely rough ride, even by his own words. again, use their own words against them, use their own policy. He's already set the benchmark for what he wants to do. So now we have something to measure him against, that type of thing, his own words. So I guess I'll leave it at that. So yeah, let the games begin. So if you like this kind of content, links down below. Thank you so much to everybody who has. Next to that, rate, subscribe, share, comment, like. Be true to yourselves, be true to others. Always do the right thing, and have yourselves a great day. G'day, hi, and welcome. All right. And just for those of you who really like that, I'll give you a second one. G'day, hi, and welcome. There you go. +2 right now. Really mild. Very nice out there. I went skating yesterday. Went to a restaurant yesterday. Did a whole bunch of things yesterday. And way late in the evening, I was able to actually watch the Trump inauguration speech. That's all I watched. I didn't watch the whole festivities for the uncles out there. that kind of murky shadow you see there, that's 3 men standing there by a car with my dad's dog. It's a little bit foggy out there in the windows. Anyway, so yesterday was the SJW apocalypse. No! Or also known as the presidential inauguration. Now, yeah, your Antifas were out there and stuff like that. Now, I think I'm going to start off with the warning stuff first, so to speak. Check out my hat. All right, so first off, gold, silver, if you're into that kind of thing, double down, triple down, get what you can while you can. Bread, bullets, get what you can while you can. I always give rice a plug. Buy as much, because for $8-10 you can get like an 18-pound bag of rice. Stockpile. We're headed for rough times. Now, Donald Trump still, technically I guess today would be the first day in office. And he's got lots of stuff planned, and I think he's going to move quite quick on the stuff he's going to do. However, if you listen to the speech, it was a very dark speech in a lot of ways. It kind of bringing, and of course the mainstream media, they're still out there scratching their heads. I think I'm coming to the conclusion that a lot of them really have no clue why Donald Trump won. They have no clue. They can't figure it out. They're completely baffled. And you got media pundit after media pundit that they just don't get it because they're out of touch with the populace. That's why the people who voted for Trump, didn't vote because of sexism and racism and xenophobe, homophobe, all this. They didn't vote because maybe some of them did. I don't know, but that's not what the core of it was. It was anti-establishment, draining of the swamp, restoring rule of law. But people know what the world elites were doing. They don't want the status quo in the government anymore. But mostly they voted for Trump so they wouldn't have a shooting civil war. This is very clear. And the proof is in the pudding. And I've listened to enough people on all sides of the argument. On one side of the argument, you got, you're racist, you're bigot, and they just regurgitate this progressive. Again, if you didn't see the girl with the green hair going, no, as you hear in the background, and the 45th president just being sworn in, swears on the Bible or whatever. And she's there, no. It's like, that's how mentally broken these people are. It's sad. I feel bad for them, but, kind of like you're stupid, it should hurt. But, yeah, Trump hasn't played his hand yet, but he's still signaling that he's going to do what he says he's going to do. Trump does flip-flop because he's a negotiator to a degree. But his general theme, and I think there's going to be a lot of wins, but there's going to be a lot of hits too, no matter which way we go. And I will say this, brace for the pain. The pain is coming now. The people that voted for him, I don't even think fully realize what they voted for either. That you voted for the change. This change is going to come. The question is not just how much it's going to hurt, but how bloody is it going to be. The factions now being overthrown, if they get overthrown, we're going to know well within the 30 days whether Trump was the real deal or not. It won't even matter if he can pass what he wants to. Let's say the Congress and the House, the Senate, do not work with him at all. You'll know what he's trying to do, that type of thing. But God help those senators that don't play ball with the people. Now, one thing you got to keep in mind, when Obama was inaugurated, he referred to himself, I think I saw a little statistic, so you can check it out for yourself, but it's probably true. He referred to, not his inauguration speech, but the exit speech. He referred to himself 75 times. In Trump's inauguration speech, he referred to himself 3 times, and We the People 45 times. It was about a 17-minute speech, whatever, at least the first speech. I don't know how many speeches he's supposed to do in a day. But the main speech, after the swearing in.
And he pretty much paints the picture of the country, the shape it's in. And that, we're going up from here, not the other way around. But there's going to be pain. We're going to have to pay the piper. And what he's talking about, and it's something he's been talking about, and if you've been paying attention to him, this is the problem with the SJWs, is they just took the talking points from the mainstream media, ran with their bias of Hillary Clinton and whatever, and didn't look at anything other. I listened to hours and hours of Hillary Clinton, hours and hours of Trump. I've been listening to Obama, pretty much every Obama speech since he's been in power for 8 years. Maybe not every speech, but quite a few of them. And not just the sound bites. Listening to, half hour here, an hour there. Again, a lot of people don't realize I probably put, anywhere from 6 to 9 hours a day doing this. I do a lot in it. And I know what these people are, how they think, how they, I know what they say, I know what they say and what they do. I always say just judge them on what they do. That's about all you can really do. Because they say a lot of different things. Even Trump's going to do this. But the thing with Trump is, I think he's probably going to be more successful, whether you agree with him or disagree with him, on what he wants to do because of the nature of Trump being the bull in the china shop. But the big problem is the underestimation, even for the people that voted for him. Now, let's break it down. Okay, he's had more Democrats vote for him than any GOP candidate in their history. He's had more Latinos and African Americans vote for the GOP than they've ever had in history. This was probably one of the largest elections in history. It was just, maybe not, I don't know if it was the largest, but it was definitely up there. Just a bizarre election to begin with. But the thing is that he keeps breaking records. And people still keep underestimating him. The mainstream media is still underestimating him. Oh, he's not going to be able to do this. Oh, he's not going to be able to do that. And one of the things that he said in his speech is, don't let people tell you what you can't do. Never let people tell you what you can't do. It was he ended it on a very high note and very motivational. But he also, God and country. This can be a concern. Again, I like to look at things as objectively as possible. This can be a concern if he goes too neoconish. God and country tends to follow with neocon on a lot of these politicians. We're going to go destroy that country for God. We're going to go fight because God's on our side, that type of thing. So, okay, take that one wherever you want to take that one. The atheists won't like that very much. The SJWs hate God too. So, of course, they're terrified right now. The SJWs are they're literally in a mental apocalypse right now. There's some of them like, I just wonder how many are going to committed suicide yesterday over Trump's inauguration. Like, they're in complete disbelief. But that's what happens when you allow progressive agendas in schools and give participation awards. It causes brain damage. That type of thing.